One of the things that happens is as these videos are being made, it's a vast and a big world that is around us. And as I'm making these videos, some of the things that are shared are very personal events. Other the things that are shared are teaching events whereby you're hoping to teach people things that you have learned, that you think are of value. Some of what I talk about is history, and some of what I talk about is based in fact, because and I don't necessarily have a problem with this, but there is a fair amount of our population and a fair amount of people around us who either don't believe in God, who believe that when we talk about things that are ethereal, things that are spiritual, and things that can't be seen, we're talking about fairy tales or nonsense. Now, I find it hilarious myself that people who think that talking about that which you can't see is talking about that which doesn't exist. But they all believe in gravity. And why did they believe in gravity? Because they have experienced the impact and the effect of gravity. Now, gravity, mind you, is something you can't see. Also, there are people in various scientific fields who are interested in the biology of DNA, the biology of cells, the biology of people, the biology of animals, the biology of plants. And most of the biological machines that make any of the things that I've just mentioned grow, develop, mature, and live, most of the mechanisms that we study in biology are things that we cannot see with the naked eye. But we can see the impact of all of these biological machines and biological systems coming together to make a being that benefits from design, benefits from process, and benefits in a fashion whereby something that was not alive at one point in time became alive, something that has become alive and is living is operating, and that living thing one day, in most cases as we know it, will no longer end up being a living thing. And this is all part of our process and part of what we do on the earth. And this process is as true of humans as it is of dogs, of cats, of wild animals, of lizards, of birds, of insects, of the things that surround us here on earth. Physics, which I was fascinated with as a young man and have enjoyed it all my life and have kind of kept a finger in, I would say, amateur physics and not the real high-level mathematical stuff, but in the applied stuff that can end up being conveyed in a science journal or in an article or printed on the internet, and whether it's astronomy or whether it's sound or whether it's light or whether it's wave theory or whether it's photons, it's all interesting to me. These are all theories and processes and attempts to describe that which is invisible to us in terms of how the process works, even though the effect and the impact is visible. So it may not be a surprise to you that as much as I enjoy learning about biology, as much as I enjoy learning about physics, as much as I enjoy learning about other sciences and learning about processes that we can see the impact of without actually seeing how the process happens. Philosophy, history, and theology are all of great interest to me as well, because we don't necessarily see what is happening, but we see the effect and the impact of the process once again. And I'm hardwired to be interested in this. And so I will share of what I have seen, of what I have experienced, of what I have learned, and of what I know. But I just don't want those who have great interest in processes that we can only see the outcome of that are physical on this earth to immediately dismiss the spiritual and the theological. You can't love the processes that make the earth run without understanding that there is that which is invisible and that which we hold in trust. You can't understand that without giving the opportunity or the possibility, at least, that with what is going on in the world around us, we need to be a people who are open to the fact that there's additional dimensions to the reality that we have here. And God, I believe, has broken into history so that you may know the creator of all that is. You may know that there is a being that has loved you from the foundation of the world and wants to draw you into relationship with him. You also need to understand and know that the fact that you didn't start believing in this creator, but there is a point where you are stirred, where you are touched, where there's the possibility of your moving forward, is the process that all humanity goes through. And if you study people who ended up being famous for being profound, for being spiritual, for thinking well about the things of God, you will find that many of them struggled hard and resisted and did not want the truth that they ultimately embraced to really be true. And so the whole fact that you are at some point along the way trying to figure these things out, God meets some people as children. God meets some people at major junctures and major turning points in their lives. And it can be argued that they were at a turning point, and at that turning point they were more open to the invisible realm that they had been previously, and that turning point opened a door for them to get to know God. And there are even people who, towards the end of their lives, after they have accomplished a great deal and done wonderful things and had adventures and had accomplishments, put together an understanding of the history of their life, and the understanding of the history of their life leads them to a place where they believe that there was a supernatural and a divine leading the whole time that brings them face to face with their Creator, whom we call God. Wherever you are, the fact that something is invisible does not mean that it's non-existent. That is a mistake. And so I just am happy to share with you, happy to hang with you, happy to talk about what I know, happy to talk about what I believe, happy to talk about what I've experienced, and happy to share the fact that I have a belief that God has extraordinary and good and wonderful things to happen in your life, with you, and through you. So in this sense, I believe that I am an optimist because I can see the plan of God working in the lives of those who this week love him and walk with him and are called according to his purpose, but also that God has wonderful things that he's going to do in the lives of those who this week are resisting him and think this is nonsense. Thanks for hanging this long. Shalom.